Hello, everybody, and welcome to this week's Trivia Super Game. I'm Mackenzie, joined today by the one and only Dani Standring, game reviewer, influencer extraordinaire. So excited to have you here, Dani. How's it going?
Good. How are you?
Doing well. I'm so happy you're here. This is going to be awesome.
I'm excited to be here. I'm excited to not show off my knowledge.
Yeah. Welcome to all of our friends who are joining us live in the chat also. Thanks for joining. This is going to be super, super fun. Before we get into it, I'll give a quick rundown how this whole thing works. So we're here to play some games trivia. We're going to give away a cool $100 cash prize at the end, so make sure you stick around. Every single day, we run trivia challenges at WatchMojo.com/play. As you play the daily challenges, you earn Mojo points to your account for stuff like inviting friends to join and correct answer streaks. So you can redeem those Mojo points for entry into our Friday afternoon super game, where we give away $100, which is what we're here to do today, here and now. But in honor of our collaboration, this crossover event of the century, no Mojo points are needed to join today's game. So everybody, if you want to play along with us and against us, go ahead, open another tab, go to WatchMojo.com/play, sign in, and yeah, like I said, we got about 15 minutes to go. We're going to give away $100, so let's go. We're here, yeah, like I said, we're talking games. Dani, board games, video games, card games, not sports. That's its own thing. You mentioned, yeah, there's no
I wouldn't be opposed to sports.
Yeah.
Throw that in the mix. Why not?
Why not? Life is short. You mentioned you're not feeling super confident. I'm surprised to hear that. What's your vibe going into this game today, this competition?
I feel like surface level. And if I'm able to like talk about things on the internet about board games, I'd be like, wow, she's an expert. She knows everything. I don't. I definitely like, the games I play and the things I do, like I feel like I know a lot about, but like anything outside the scope of that, like the history of things and where things came from, I'm kind of dense.
That's a harsh word.
I'm gonna fake it till I make it, though. I'm gonna make it sound like I am very knowledgeable on these things, and I'm gonna come out on top.
It's showbiz, baby. Fake it till you make it is the name of the game.
For real. You should get that tattooed on my arm.
Because on your channel, like on your network, your TikTok and your Instagram both have like really substantial followings. You do go deep. I mean, you cover tons and tons and tons of stuff. So I'm dying to pick your brain a little bit on this topic. Like, what are some of your favorite games that you feel no one ever talks about? Like some underrated gems.
All right. So right out the gate, I do talk a lot about board games. I think I mostly only talk about board games on my channels. I, in the past have like briefed upon video games I like, and I do like a lot of video games, and when I play them I get like into them, like I lose my soul to them. Like there'll be like weekends at a time where I just become like a hermit in this chair and I don't leave, and I'm like, oh, I forgot to eat today. And it happens like, but I talk a lot about board games, but there's a lot of on the other side of things. But there is this one game that I recall playing that I got super into, and actually like people in my house got super into, and it was called Desktop Dungeons.
Dungeons.
Yeah, it is. It's not the prettiest of games. It definitely has like this like 8-bit look to it, but not 8-bit in like an endearing way, just like in a, it's a little rough. It's 2D, so it's very flat. And it is a roguelike puzzle dungeon diver. It's very quick, so like it's just randomly generated. And it's like 10 minutes to get through a dungeon, but everything when you first start off is like almost like a fog of war. Like nothing is revealed yet, and you have to make your way through the dungeon, like finding potions and spells, but you're also like fighting baddies along the way. And as you click, so it's turn-based, so you're not just like in real time running through it. So you have to like move to a square, it reveals, move to a square and reveals. And then you have to like beat up all the guys in there, but your life is dependent on how you move. So the more you reveal, you heal, but as you're fighting baddies, like you're losing life. So it's like figuring out how you move and save, revealing the dungeon for the times when you need to heal and still fight all the bad guys. And it's like, I don't think it got super popular. I'm 100% sure it didn't get super popular, but it is like crack. Like it is one of those games where like you fail and then you're like, all right, it's a roguelike, like it's what it's supposed to do. But you just keep going back to it and you're like, well, it only took like 3 minutes to fail, so why not boot it up and do it again? And then once you get through a dungeon, you're like, that felt great. It only took me like 10-15 minutes. Let's do it again. So that was one of those weekends where you didn't leave the comfort of your office chair.
Yeah, I was gonna say 3 hours later, but it's more like 3 days. It's really
I'm still in the same spot, like still in the same clothes, and you're like, Danielle, I think it's time to get up. and do
Yeah.
something. So I'm like, I open the windows. We're good.
Yeah. Here's an arrow. Get some fresh air in the room. It's like, you're looking at me, but I can tell you're thinking about dungeons. So
There's nothing there. There's nothing. You just see like just like little cubes being revealed.
your mouth is talking, but your eyes are
Blank.
Friends in the chat, let us know if you have an underrated game that you want to recommend to everybody else who's tuning in. I'll give a quick reminder to anyone who's maybe just joining us now what exactly we're here to do. So we're playing games trivia, as you may have surmised by our conversation. And we're going to be giving away a $100 cash prize to the winner of the game. So if you want to play with us, you got to open another tab, go to WatchMojo.com/play, sign in, and we've got about 10 minutes to go. It's going to be awesome. Cool. So we've talked so we've been covering, like, we've been chatting about your deep cut favorites, but what were you playing like as a kid? Like, what got you into this space?
So deep, this is gonna be a deep cut.
Let's
talked
go.
about this recently out of nowhere. So when I was younger, like my dad got a computer like really early on, like mid 90s, like 96, 97. And he was like super into playing things like Quake, that kind of thing.
Okay.
He got me this game. It was a Tonka construction game. And I'm pretty sure that like changed my life. I played it so much. And then recently I was like, I'm wondering if I can play it again. All it was like you had control of different like big excavators and bulldozers and stuff. And it taught you the process of like digging up land and then paving roads, and then you got to build like little buildings near the roads, and it was like such a simple game, but it was like a very fun process of like you now have to pick the next like tractor you need to use. Like you had to like build your own city. It was a city builder. That's really what it was. But I just remember playing that a ton. I think it was like 7 or 8, and that's all I played. That was it. And then this other like pet veterinary game that came in like dog food. That was weird, but also played it a ton. Anyway, so this is all leading up to the point where like my dad realized that like, okay, we actually like playing games in this house. And then I think we just went right into like, we had an N64 and I played a ton of Banjo-Kazooie and played a ton of Mario Kart and just Mario. So I feel like I was like kind of like classic in that sense, like had a very like standard like video game experience. Didn't play a ton of board games as a kid. We did a lot of card games. Like we played a lot of cribbage. That was kind of like my thing with my dad. Like we played that a ton. And just standard, like we played Uno and Go Fish. But it wasn't until like I was more like teenager when I started to like really get into gaming. And I always thought it was like, oh, that's kind of like what nerds do. Like you don't do that. Like I was like in high school trying to like play it off cool.
Sure.
But then I play it and I'd be like, oh no, this is actually fun. And maybe I'm the nerd. Like it's the calls coming from within the house. Like, oh no, these are the things I actually like playing.
The nerd life chose you.
It did. It called to me. And then, you know, I think it was like late teens. I had a friend that, you know, recommended I try and play World of Warcraft. And then that was the end. That was the actual that was the actual end of things. And beginning of the end, and that's kind of where it started. And then from there, just all things nerdy. And somehow that got me into the wonderful world of board games to where I am today. And that's pretty much all I do now. It's just
there. I was going to say this majestic wall of board games, this library. This is like a Beauty and the Beast level library of games and board games.
It'd be nice if I had like one of those like ladders that slid across the wall to be fun.
Yeah, why not?
But it's literally just ends right there, so it would just be me on like a 6-foot ladder back and forth.
It's a ladder. You don't need the wheels. You can pretty much reach with your arms, but the romance is there. The aesthetic is there.
I would dress up for it and just really lean into it.
Because we were having a good conversation kind of before the stream started about what's the difference between a game and a toy. Because you were saying Tonka, and so I know you were saying it's a computer game, but when you were saying that, I kind of like this was igniting some thoughts in my mind. So, what is your take on a game versus a toy?
You're gonna get me, people. You're gonna get me all fired up on this one. So, a toy, I feel like that's something like we're gonna draw some lines. Okay, so I'm just gonna go right to the part that we were talking about. How I consider Candyland not to be a game. And I feel it's more of like an activity. It's a toy. It's something that you play with. It is like an activity in color matching. You draw a card, you look at the color, and then you move your pawn to that color. don't really have much of a choice in what you're doing with that card. Now, in the sense that if you drew 2 cards and then you got to pick which card would be better for you in winning the game, then I would consider Candyland a game because you have choice, you have agency, you have strategy in it. And it's the same with snakes and ladders. Is that what we're calling it? Snakes, not shoes and ladders, snakes and ladders.
Yeah, it depends who you ask. There are different schools of thought.
Snakes and ladders.
Snakes and
Same thing. All you're doing is spinning a dial and then moving your pawn, and that's it. Like you don't have a choice in that. So that's kind of like where I draw my line. Like what is a game versus like what's an activity?
Right.
And I don't. So this is me not saying that those things are bad because when kids are younger, like they need to learn like what are your colors, and matching colors and matching anything is great. Like perfect for development. Don't tell me it's a game. It is not a game.
You do not need development. You are a grown person.
Yeah.
Like, we're not here for development. True. So I guess to you, it boils down to if you win based on strategy and choices and decisions within the game, then it's a game. But if you win based on just the fact
Pure
that
luck.
any pure luck, sure, then that's a toy. Okay, I think that's a good division. What would you say to something like, I'm thinking like hacky sack comes to mind, where there's an object to it, and I guess there's a skill involved. Is that a game?
Skill. I would say why not? Because it still requires you to have some, like, I would be terrible. Hold on, let me rephrase. I am terrible at a hacky sack. There is a skill involved that you need to like practice and perfect over time, and it requires you to do something. Maybe not necessarily appear, although the hand-eye coordination definitely involves your brain. But like it requires you to do something in order to get better at it. You don't need to do anything to get better at Candyland. Like it doesn't require you to do anything. And or even like I would even say like gambling. People can argue like a lot of that is luck, and they're like it doesn't really require you to do it, but people still practice those things. And there you can ask people like slots, like it's a game. Like there's still something there that people like. There's a strategy behind it. I don't understand that. I'm like over here just pulling things. Like sure, but someone would tell me, "Oh no, there's strategy to it. Let me tell you all about it." I'm like, okay, so that would still be a game. So
yeah,
and I love dexterity games too, by the way.
Oh yeah,
they're fun.
Yeah, because I was gonna say like a slot machine to me is like maybe there's some strategy, but it's gamified. It presents as a game. But really, I mean, you put the activity in my mind, and that I hadn't thought of it that way. But you're totally right that some things are not necessarily like if you're not making choices, if there's nothing you can do to improve your odds, really it doesn't fall into that category. It's more of like activity, etc. So that's super interesting. I hadn't thought of it that way. So thanks for breaking that down.
I'll die on that hill.
Yeah. I'm interested to see if there's anyone in the chat who has like feelings or other thoughts, because I think
wrong.
that's whatever. It doesn't matter, but we are curious to hear them anyway. Yeah. Well, now we got about a minute to go before our game starts, our official trivia game. So I will just give a little reminder to anybody who wants to play along, compete for our $100 prize. Category of the day is games. All you got to do to play, open another tab, go to WatchMojo.com/play, sign in, and we got about 1 minute to go. It's going to be awesome. Now, Dani, what are you playing right now? Like here and now today? What's on your roster for Friday night?
Helldivers. I've just been playing Helldivers. It is just a ridiculous like PvE third-person shooter, and it is the most fun I've had playing a video game in a very long time. That is just like kind of goofy. Like it doesn't take itself seriously, and it's just, I kind of miss the days of like playing games with friends just for fun and not like hyper competitive. Like that embodies all of that. I feel like they made that game for like the millennial generation.
With like lighthearted, chill, competitive, but not like.
Yeah, but still like requires you to like, know how to play the game, and it just has all of like the good inner workings for like a great time.
Awesome. The good time is built into the game.
It is. It's just like good time, the game.
Trivia starting right now, guys. Sorry to cut you off, Dani. Hungry Hungry Hippos was introduced in 1950. True or false?
Oh, good God. This is what I'm saying. I came in with a lot of confidence.
You even said outright, you're like, if there's some like history BS in there, like I'm doing the first question for sure.
Right into it.
Into the pool. To the wolf.
I knew that one.
Pack? What is it? Which of these is an endless running game?
I got this one.
Nice.
Yeah.
It's in the name. It's in the name.
Context clues.
Yeah. Yeah. Also, if you have no idea what the answer is, the faster you answer, the more points you receive. So you receive.
Ooh.
So sometimes like it's better to just like really lean in if you have really no
I'm
idea.
curious about this one now.
Yeah, because we were just talking about this. Yeah, of course, because it takes no skill.
People just in there like, "Meow."
Yeah.
Ah,
Okay. Scrabble board is a 15 by 15 grid of squares. True or false? We will soon find out. I was like trying to do the math in my head of like counting, trying to remember.
like looking at envisioning the board in your head was gonna help.
It's just squares. It does nothing. What 70s game was the highest selling entertainment product for its time?
I feel like I'm failing miserably at this.
It's okay. It's about the friends you make along the way.
No, I'm doing good. I'm doing good.
Yeah. Unless you win $100 and then it's about that. Yeah, then the friends are irrelevant at that point. This is the oldest known board game. I wonder which part of the world this originates.
What's Hounds and Jackals?
It's
It's like hide and seek, except you dress up.
yeah, there's a cosplay element. And who's the bad guy? Who have we got in the game today? Let's take a look. I see Asmund Silver is a classic legacy WatchMojo trivia player, unsurprisingly in the lead. Keep your eye on this guy. Mercs, Lucas, Jinbo. Yeah, these guys are amazing. Smashing, Dullfox. Oh, we got a lot of people. That's awesome. What country did Tetris originate from?
See, this is just getting me ready for the next time I do trivia.
Yeah, bring it on. Yeah.
This is where I get all of those facts that I should know or think I should know.
Well, it's a good moment to casually remind everyone that we actually have tons of non-competitive trivia games on the WatchMojo website. So if you're ever feeling like you want to play some trivia, but it's not 3 p.m. Eastern, you can practice on our website and then come back and steal the money. Or keep hanging out with us every Friday afternoon, because that's really fun too. Which of the following video games had a movie adaptation released in 2021? Ooh, I know this one. If it's a movie question, I'm like, okay, I feel better.
Oh no! Oh no! I totally screwed that one.
What did you guess?
I thought Sonic, or was that like not 2021? That was like
no. I think that was. We're getting a new one this year, but there was I think 2020. If you're seeing people have little badges on their emojis, it's because they're getting multiple answers correct. So they get more Mojo points and a greater advantage going into next week's super game.
Damn, good for you guys.
Yeah, good for you guys. I feel like we're seeing this light bright thumbnail a lot, which brings me joy. But that's not a game.
It's an activity.
It's an activity.
And I love light brights. I have a little light bright. It's like this big. It's great.
Nice.
See, I know this one.
Awesome. Dani, I'm going to distract you from the game and just ask, what was the first game that you ever reviewed? You can keep playing, but I'm just curious.
I think it was Gloomhaven. And it wasn't even a review. It was more of like my experience with it, because it's a behemoth of a game. It is like a cooperative, like dungeon diving, like monster fighting experience. There's like a lot to it. So, and because it's short form, like talking about that game in a minute, impossible. But it was like one of the first videos I made about board games, and I just gave my opinion on it and how I really liked it. And for whatever reason, people liked listening to me talk about it. I'm like, I don't know why. So I was like, well, maybe I'll try and talk about another game I played next week. And people continued listening. And I was like, all right, cool. Well, I'm going to keep doing that.
Forever.
Gonna keep doing that. And it was fun. I liked doing it. And it gave me like a fun outlet outside of actually playing the games, like talking about the games.
Yeah. Because you get to like kind of, have some space to talk about your experience with it. Is there a game that you've reviewed that you totally hated? And did you have to mediate your feelings on that? Or were you brutally honest?
So I try not to talk about games that I don't enjoy, because I recognize that just because I don't like it, that doesn't mean someone else doesn't wouldn't like it or wouldn't enjoy it. Now, I think there's a difference between me not liking it and then me thinking it's a bad game, like it being a bad game. So I always want to make sure that distinction. So like I feel like I can recognize where a game is good, but it's not for me. And I will talk about games like that where I will say like, this maybe isn't for me, but this could be for you because of XYZ reasons.
Yeah.
But if a game's just outright bad, I won't talk about it. And also like I feel like that's someone's passion project. Someone put love and effort into it. So like it's not on me to like chop it down. That's just my like general feeling on talking about games on the internet. Like it's not my place to tell the world that your game kind of sucked.
You're stupid and I hate you.
Go away. Although I have voiced my opinion on games that I don't enjoy sometimes on Flip Cup. I feel like this is where I thrive.
Dive back in for Flip Cup. This is it.
I'm back in for Flip Cup. Yes.
Shut up. Right. We're almost there.
I told you I like dexterity games, and drinking games falls into that.
Totally. Do you have a favorite drinking game?
Probably just Pong. I really just like playing beer pong. It is a ton of fun. And I played it a ton in college. Like, and I've gotten plenty of like renditions of Pong sent my way, and I freaking love them all. I have so much fun playing them. I'm also a competitive person, so it's just silly competitive.
Yeah. When you can get really, really invested in something like really, really lighthearted.
Really like low investment. Like no one's getting angry, although people are getting angry.
Some people get angry. I've seen it.
I'm not getting angry. Going back to your question about talking about games I don't like. There's a few that just kind of really like grind my gears a little bit.
Okay.
Munchkin being one of them. That's a game I have no problem saying that I can't stand.
Why?
It's just, I feel like it's just too much like take that. Like I feel like I never feel good at any point. So you're trying to be the first to get to 10 points and you're doing it by playing cards and you're like going through a dungeon. There's a lot of dungeon talking tonight. But like you can kind of negotiate with people and be like, hey, if I help you with this, maybe you can help me with that. And then people can be like, yeah, I'll help you, and then not help you. I don't like being backstabbed. I think that's what it comes down to. And I've been backstabbed too many times in that game where it's supposed to be just like, it's a quick, lighthearted game. Like we're just here for a good time.
Last question, guys. Here for a good time.
See, Munchkin's the best. Sorry, I didn't mean to offend you, but Munchkin makes me irate. It makes me angry.
So then, okay, I'll give a quick congratulations to Jinbo, who took our $100 cash prize today. Well, congratulations. A great way to kick off your weekend. Mercs, Aspen Silver, Dolphox, and Lucas also finishing in the top 5. Congratulations. Dani, what do you think makes an excellent game? Let's end on that note. I want to hear more about Munchkin, but I'll message you later.
I really think just your experience at the table, because I feel like there's so many different styles of games, and like what you enjoy is completely dependent on you. Like what I enjoy is going to be different from what you're going to like. I think really a good game comes down to, the time you spend like learning it, and then the time you spend like setting it up, and then introducing other people to it, and then the time you spend with those other people, and then the enjoyment they get out of it. Because some people love like very basic games, and that's great. That is for them. So they could be like, that's a great game. And to me, I might be like, yeah, that's not my jam. But I think ultimately, if people can walk away from either, a video game or the table playing a board game, and they feel like they had a great time, you can say that that's a good game then at that point. As long as their experience is positive at the end of the day, that's all that matters.
Knowing yourself and riding the vibes.
Yeah. And also know yourself when you pick a game. I feel like there's so many times where people are like, they're trying to play a game. And they're like, you know, maybe games aren't for me. I'm like, I think maybe you just play the wrong one. Like, I
Right.
think you need to find what works for you.
Yeah. Well, great advice. And thank you so much, Dani, for coming on the show. This was so much fun. And I hope to have you in again.
Yeah, thanks. This was great. And also, I'm now prepared for next trivia.
Yeah, bring it on. Games round
Yeah.
2. Congratulations to Jimbo. And thank you for everyone for joining us in the chat. This was great. And we'll see you next week. Have a great weekend, guys.